It's time for Physician Family Finances, the show where physician moms and dads like you can get the answers and encouragement you need to turn a good earned income into great life outcomes for tomorrow and today.
Hello, physician moms and dads. I'm Nate Reineke, certified financial planner and primary advisor.
And I'm Chelsea Jones, also a certified financial planner and primary advisor here at Financial Advisors.
Chelsea, Valentine's Day is around the corner. I have an over-under on whether or not your spouse, or I guess how long your spouse has in between purchasing your Valentine's Day gift and actual Valentine's Day. And I think it's 12 hours. It's
We're talking
literally,
about my spouse specifically.
yes. What do you think?
Connor's
Is
a
it over or
planner.
under? Oh, really?
Over. Yeah.
Wow.
Connor's a planner. He orders stuff ahead of time. He's got the card tucked away for like at least a
Good
week.
man. That's a
I
good
know.
man. I think the over under for everybody though is about 12 hours. It's either on Valentine's Day or before. And if it's before Valentine's Day, you have a planner on your hands. I got
Yeah.
some, I mean, it worked really well. I was like on my phone or something the other day and I got an advertisement. It wasn't even an advertisement. It was a video of this really like, it was like a baker, some woman that owns a bakery. And she said, this is what your husband ordered like 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. And she opened up a box and there was nothing in it. And then they just looked at the camera and they're like, order these now. They won't be
Here's your
available.
sign.
Yeah. So what did I do? I ordered it. It worked on me. It's great. Okay. We have some questions here from physicians, and none of them have to do with love. So we're gonna have to sprinkle that in there some way, somehow.
Okay.
Right.
I think
I
we
don't know
can
how
do
we'll
it.
do it. All right. Take it away.
All right. So the first question we got actually came from two separate physicians. Same question, two households.
Oh, yeah.
Both from Oregon, though. So a surgeon and an oncologist in Oregon asked me, I want to set aside money for my kids. I've been hearing a lot about these Trump accounts. Should I use one of those? And it's a great question. There is a lot of buzz around the Trump accounts there. This will be the first year that you would be able to open them if you decide to. But ultimately, what it comes down to when you start using the should, when you start shoulding yourself, is what do you want to use? Like, what is the money for? Why are you wanting to set this money aside? You said it's for your kids, but like, what are you trying to set your kids up to do?
Yeah, that's kind of you know, part of our job, and nobody realizes this. Inevitably, we make recommendations based on what we believe. You know, a lot of times, they're saying should as if it's a financial decision when really it's a parenting decision. So, in these instances, I mean, I know where this is going, but you said, what's the money for? What did these people say?
So they said they get like their kids get gifts from grandparents, from family during Christmas. You know, this is first of the year. They've got the Christmas money. The parents themselves are already saving for college. They feel well prepared for that. So they're like, I want my children to own this. And they initially had asked me about a UTMA account, which is a taxable account for your kid.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about like the pros and cons of that. And then they were like, well, what about this Trump account? I've heard about this. Would that be better? And
Yeah.
again, it all comes down to what's the goal for this money?
So what's the difference between, so 529s for college, UTMA is a taxable account for your children. What is the difference between a taxable account for your children and the Trump account?
It's really the tax treatment. So a UTMA, the taxable account, the income is taxed as you get it. So, and not always at preferential rates. So there's the kitty tax is somewhat complex, but depending on how much you have in there, it could be subject to the parents.
Yeah,
Um,
there's always context here. So just to zoom out a little bit, the kitty tax is essentially if these UTMAs get too big, you no longer are getting preferential tax treatment. In fact, it kind of gets worse. So it starts taxing at your rates. So you just have to be careful with that. And it just the UTMAs lose their luster after like not that much money. And you start to ask your question like, why do I even have this? But okay, so it gets taxed, and then the Trump account, how does that work?
the Trump account is tax deferred, so there's not a limit to how much you can put in an UTMA, but the Trump account is limited to $5,000 a year.
Okay.
And the money that you put in as the parent or a family member, it's after taxes. So you don't get a tax break on it. But the growth is tax deferred. And when the kid turns 18, it essentially turns into a traditional IRA. So there's penalties if you take it out before 59 and a half. The like regular exceptions for withdrawals to avoid the penalty still apply. So it's like you can use it for education expenses, but why would you use that if you have a 529?
Yeah.
You can use like I think 10,000 for a home purchase, and there might be one other like milestone thing.
1,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's a good account. I mean, it turns into an IRA, so it's aimed for retirement. Um,
And you were telling me this is interesting. As of right now, you've been talking to your CPAs that you work with a lot, and you ask them about converting this essentially IRA to a Roth IRA, just like you would, let's say, with a 401k for a client. They have a bunch of pre-tax money, and you're slowly starting to convert it into Roth when they approach retirement or in retirement. And as of right now, I think you were telling me the way that the tax code is written, there's nothing preventing that from happening. You could convert it into a
that's
Roth
right.
and effectively have Roth money for your child. And every CPA we've spoken with, they're like, yeah, as of right now, that seems like too good to be true. Because
Mm-hmm.
everyone always asks us, how do I get money into a Roth for my child? And you can't because they
Yeah.
need earned income.
Yeah.
So this would, as of right now, it sounds
As
like,
of right now, this
yeah,
is a way around it to
yeah,
get
it's
money into
interesting.
an IRA without them having earned income.
Yeah. So, like you said, this is always just what is the money for? Um, I struggle with this one a bit because this is a parenting decision. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I personally won't be putting money into a Trump account for my children because I don't see a lot of value in saving money for them for 60 years from now. If you are one of those, believers in generational wealth and saving as much as you can for your kids so that they can be rich before they've even started working, um, that's just not how I roll. I think that there is a lot of value in life to earning your own place in society, being a productive member of society, and sometimes that requires, or every time, and from what I've seen, that requires you to work hard, and you will find purpose, at least some level of purpose in life, earning your own way. And so I just don't go down this rabbit hole very often. If it's like a one time thing and you're just like, I want to put $5,000 in here, or you had a new baby and you want to get the free money in the account, that's fine.
$1,000, yeah.
But for physicians, every time I say, what is this money for? They don't really have a great answer. It's more of just, would it be dumb not to do this? Is kind of what they're asking. So,
Yeah.
you said, what's this money for? Sounds like they already had a full 529, so they want to save more. And then the
Yes.
question is, well, do you want this money to be theirs? Or do you want this money? Are you saving for their retirement? Usually, they like the idea of the money being theirs, but with an UTMA account, it's actually theirs. You have no control over it once they're age of majority.
Yeah. And to be fair, the Trump account would be actually theirs. It would just be expensive to get the money out.
Yeah, which an 18-year-old might not care about. So all those nice uh, tax benefits that you're looking for, this money is theirs. That's the whole point here. I just don't really, I just don't have a strong belief. I've never seen a situation where this is a great idea to hand over an 18-year-old a whole bunch of money. I just can't see it. So, but some people, they want to do this, and there's nothing wrong with the Trump account inherently. It's just I can't see. I normally don't get past college. I mean,
I
it's hard enough
know.
to save for college.
I was gonna say we're not saying don't help your kids. You're
Yeah,
already giving them a leg up because they don't have to graduate with debt.
exactly. And by the way, for many years I was beating that drum. It's just like they don't really need any more money than college. Um, I would say my tune is changing a bit. If you have the ability to save some extra money so that your child can buy a house, um, I mean, housing is very difficult for young people. Um, then maybe that's a reasonable gift because really they don't want they don't need a huge inheritance. They need money when they're getting their life started outside of college. But that doesn't come with any of these accounts. That comes from you saving a whole bunch of money in a brokerage account and having the means to just give them a gift. Everyone wants to avoid these gifts. Sometimes it's just not worth avoiding. You just give them a gift, give them in today's dollars what, you know, give them $100,000 to buy a house when they've started their career and they've shown you that they're a productive member of society, but the housing market's just too difficult.
It comes down to just talk through it with us.
Hmm.
We'll help you figure out what makes
Yeah.
sense based
And
on what
worst
your
case
goals
scenario,
actually
you
are.
you throw some money in all these accounts. It's not the end of the world, but um, it's also just a whole lot of complexity for them to get a couple $1,000.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next question is from an ENT in Florida. This is a fun one. They said, "When can I buy a boat?"
Can I buy a boat? So this ENT in Florida, I don't remember if he listens to every episode, but he's gonna know who he is when and he didn't even ask me this directly. I changed it. But he's always telling me about his boat. He's like, someday I'm gonna get a boat. And this has been for it has to be at least 6 years. So
Mhm.
the answer, is a financially kind of prudent person would never buy a boat. I remember one of the first things I ever saw. It's on some TV show, but ever saw about boats was this guy said, what boat stands for? It stands for bust out another thousand.
I know. I don't know if you know this, but my mom sells boats.
What?
And yeah, because my hometown is
Wait a
on a
minute.
lake.
Wait. Did you say sales or sells?
It probably came out sales, but she I think she's moved on from that job recently, but she
Okay.
sold
She
boats.
sells boats. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay,
Yeah.
tell me more. Should the
And
should ENT in Florida buy one?
well, I'll tell you, she never owned a boat. And
Yeah.
I always say, you want to have fun on the water, go rent a boat.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy
Yeah.
one.
Um
But
but I am joking a bit here. That's kind of the saying, right? And the funny thing is this ENT in Florida knows this, which is why he never buys one. But really he wants one. And I know he wants one because we've been talking about it for years.
yeah,
And so the real question here is when can I make when can I stop making perfect financial decisions? And I'm sure Chelsea, you and I deal with this all the time. I'm sure ourselves. It's just as a financial person, as a prudent person, you want some of these things sometimes. It's hard to talk yourself out
hmm
of every decision that isn't a perfect financial decision. But as I
yeah,
always say, if we all made perfect financial decisions, we'd like live in 1,000 square foot house and
hmm
drive a junker car, and we would never enjoy, some like in that way, some fruits of our labor. And
yeah,
this person um, they are getting very close to buying their boat. And I want to tell
Mm-hmm.
you kind of like their journey. They started with, hey, I want a boat someday. I live in Florida. I want a boat someday, but I don't have a house yet. So they bought a house. And he's like, okay, I'll buy a boat in 2 years. I go, hold on. Let's get on track for college. Let's get on track for retirement. Okay. And they're like, okay, of course. They're prudent. This person truly is a prudent person. We do that. So they're on track. They show up every year to their annual progress check, and they're not holding back on their retirement plan. They're not saying, well, maybe I can get away with like only spending $9,000 a month in retirement. Meanwhile, they're spending, more than that now. They're not trying to cut themselves short every step of the way just so they can have this thing that they want. So every year we make sure retirement's in good shape. College is in good shape. They're like, okay, maybe now I can get my boat. But then, it's time to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, that's way more important than a boat. So they have their child. They're on track for college. And then they have the opportunity to buy into their practice. And they're like, well, this is gonna be a big loan. And I just don't feel right about, buying a boat when I have this loan that I
Mm-hmm.
really want to get rid of. And I say, hey, look, whether or not you could or could not technically afford it, I think you're probably right. Because loans carry risk and you want to
Yeah.
reduce risk everywhere you can. The boat should probably take a backseat to that. We're 5 years in. Year 6, year
Mm-hmm.
7, we go along like this, right? And every
Mm-hmm.
step of the way, they're making the right move and they're taking their plan seriously. And this person makes terrific money.
Mm-hmm.
To the average Joe out there, they could have bought a boat 7 times over, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're 7 or 8 years in. They are very, very well prepared to buy into their practice. I mean, probably going to do it with cash. They moved their mom near them. Like mom needed some help. Mom's had some money, but she needed a little bit more. Mom moved near them. Their child's college is prepared. Um, as soon as they buy in with cash, he's going to make even more money. They
Mm-hmm.
have a house, and now he is ready to buy the dang boat. And I don't
He's
say
been
that in
preparing for
like,
this for 6 or 7 years,
I
it
mean,
sounds like.
he dutifully preparing. And my point is this: you should prepare. You should put off purchases like this until you're truly ready. But here's that point beyond that. Once you've done that, it's really hard to like go pull the trigger. But I actually believe now this is a big example, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe a brand new car or something, and you've only ever drove 5-year-old cars or something. It's a bad
Yeah.
decision, but you really want it, and
Mm-hmm.
you've waited long enough. Once the time comes, go buy the boat.
Yeah.
But the time needs to come, and you need to be patient. And this ENT in Florida, they did that, and I'm hoping I can report back maybe in 2027, but report back that the boat was purchased. That's my hope.
Yes.
Enjoy it. You only get one life.
Mm-hmm. You deserve it.
That's it,
Okay.
though. So, can you buy a boat? Most can't because they can't wait as long as this person did. They just can't help themselves. But sometimes, if you plan just right, you can.
Yeah. Okay. Next question comes from a private practice sports medicine physician in Wisconsin. They said, can I use a 529 account to pay for CME that I would like to attend and can deduct pre-tax?
We got this question via email.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, send us your questions. So
We
this
love
is
them.
this is private practice 529 for themselves to pay for their own CME, but they own their own practice, so they would also be able. They're saying, would I also be able to deduct it pre-tax?
So, two parts to this question. Can you use a 529 account to pay for CME? That one's a yes. OBA expanded it to where you can use it for CE. The part where, can I deduct it? You can't double dip. You're getting tax-free growth in the 529. You're taking it out tax-free. You also get a tax deduction in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
The IRS doesn't like to give out, they don't like you to double dip. So
Yeah.
you can't get the tax benefit of the 529 and also deduct it as a business expense. It's one or the other. And if we're comparing state tax benefit and tax-free growth of like less than a year, since you're just passing the money through, versus deducting it as an expense. The better tax break is deducting it as an expense.
Yeah, that's right. It would be very unique for a physician to enjoy the benefit that the big beautiful bill, the one big beautiful bill, kind of added here. Because if you're a W-2 employee, most of the time your work is paying for your CME. If you're a private practice, it's going to be a lot more beneficial to, I mean, you're going to basically get 50% off by spending, money out or paying for it pre-tax.
Yeah.
And then even if for some reason, like let's say you're a W-2 employee and you wanted to pay for some CME that your work wasn't going to cover, most of the time you're already saving for your children's 529 and you're getting the tax break already for contributing to your child's 529. So putting in an additional $10,000 or whatever it is for your own 529 doesn't make sense. The funny thing is in Wisconsin, that is not the case. That's why this person's asking this question. It's like you can actually get it per beneficiary, but most 529s, there's a limit per tax filer.
Yeah.
So it'd be very unique to be able to, what we would say, wash this money through a 529 to pay for CME. But still a good idea.
Yep. Question worth asking. And our last question that we have today is from a primary care doctor. At an undisclosed location.
In undisclosed
don't know
area.
Where they're at.
I got this question. They did not tell me where. I was surprised and delighted. I don't think I've told this on the podcast, but I had a couple questions be asked over email, and it signed off, not even their name. It's signed off as, like primary care doctor in Washington.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that, that was going to catch on. But so I put undisclosed because they said they were primary care doctor, but not where they were. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. So their question is, they have two job offers. One offers a pension plan and the other has a higher comp, but they offer a 401k plan, not a pension plan.
Yeah.
How do I decide which one to take?
Yeah. So you and I deal with this kind of comparison all the time, Chelsea. First of all, I'm going to correct something here. We don't know if the other job actually has higher comp. Okay. And because your pension, your benefits is part of your comp. Mm-hmm. Okay. People miss this. They see the big dollars, they go to some private practice and they're like, we're going to pay you $500,000. Yeah. Or you could go work over here for $390,000 a year, but you get a whole bunch of benefits that your private practice didn't offer you. Mm-hmm. Maybe your private practice is going to offer something. Obviously, maybe they're maxing out your 401k, or they're giving you a match, or they're paying for your health insurance. But the point is, you're going to use every last benefit these people give you. So you should be comparing the overall benefits to each other, and that is your comp. So what this is actually saying is, what is my pension worth in terms of comp? That's this real question here. And
so it's like another way to maybe rephrase that that's easy to understand is, does the higher comp, how much do I have to save out of that higher comp?
Yes.
To match what the pension would be?
Yes.
Like, would I have to save more than, I don't know, $120,000 a year?
The benefit of the pension. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you kind of how this works, or tell our listeners how this works. I've done this math before on the podcast, but it's important. And really, here's the important part. Sometimes there isn't a huge benefit either way, which gives you more freedom. Mm-hmm. You get to decide, like, which one do I want to go work at? I did this math for somebody, and they realized that the numbers were roughly the same. So they got to live in San Diego instead of like middle of the country. And that's what they wanted to do because the numbers ended up being the same, but they didn't realize that they were the same because one had much better comp, or I just screwed up. Much better salary, not comp. Okay. So, let's say that you do the math on what the pension is worth and you find out that after 25 years, it's going to pay you $8,000 a month. Okay. So the way to do this, and this is going to get a little mathy, but Chelsea and I can do this for you and with you. But essentially, your question the question you need to ask yourself is, what is that $8,000 a month worth?
Mm-hmm.
And the way to do this is to say, how much money would I need invested to spin off $8,000 a month of income?
Mm-hmm.
And I did all the math before, and I wanted to be generous, so I didn't even use the 4% rule. I used the 4.5% rule, which everybody knows the 4% rule, which is, that's a safe withdrawal rate. So I said, well, what if I could withdraw a little bit more and just make this easy? Long story short, you would need about $2 million, at least $2 million, to spin off $8,000 a month of income. So how much money would you need to invest every month for the next 25 years to get $8,000 a month? It's like $2,500 a month or $30,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you would have to put that in a taxable account, because you can't put, you're already going to be filling up a 401k and all that. So it's an addition to that, which you could essentially say that's $40,000 or $50,000 a year. So you do all this math, you find out the pension's worth 50 grand a year. One job pays 500, the next job pays 450, but has a pension. It's the same. It's the same comp, and it's never the same. But I'm just to say, like, just to give an example. Now, to go one step further, you now have investment risk versus sort of the risk of your job. Because if you leave after 4 years and you don't get any pension, you would have wished you took the higher salary. But it's also worth it to note that if you have a 401k, you're investing your own money in there, or you're investing your money in a brokerage account. That's risk you're taking in the stock market. So it's you're risking your own money. So there's pros and cons to a pension versus investing your cash. But when you're trying to make a job choice, you just need to say, what is that pension worth? And then consider it in your overall comp when making your choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if it's a temporary job, like if you're not going to be there for more than 5 years, because even some pensions vest after 5 years, but if you leave after 5 years, you might get $100 a month.
Yeah, it's just really small.
So
yeah.
And that's what we see most of the time with pensions not working out, is people switch jobs.
Yeah, they do switch jobs a whole lot. But, I've seen a lot of people stay at the VA, especially when it's not their first job,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, I kind of know what I'm looking for. And then they find the VA, and I'm a big advocate for the VA. Some places in the VA aren't fun to work for. Others, people really love it. But I'm an advocate for it because it seems to be a better pace and of work. And also their pension is really rich. I mean, you can essentially, it's probably similar to these numbers. It's just the pension's worth tens of thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah. Not to mention the TRICARE.
Yeah.
The health insurance.
Man. Yeah, they got a lot of benefits. Okay, I think that's it for today. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you liked this episode, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss when we release one new episode every week. You can leave us a rating wherever you're listening. If you'd like to work with us, you can visit us at physicianfamily.com to schedule an interview. And if you aren't ready for that, send us a question, podcast@physicianfamily.com. We'll answer it even if it doesn't make it on the show. Until next time, remember, you're not just making a living, you're making a life.
Are you ready to turn worries about taxes and investing into all the money you need for college and retirement? It's time to make a plan and get on track. To find out if we're a match, visit physicianfamily.com and click Get Started. Or you can ask a question of your own by emailing podcast@physicianfamily.com. See marketing disclosures at physicianfamily.com/disclosures.